Hello everybody, welcome to the show. It's Laguna Tokes with me, Tokes, and Thomas Frank has just been sacked. I was about to do a video talking about whether Tottenham are gonna get relegated, are they in a relegation battle, and it seems like the board were equally worried about that, and Thomas Frank has just been sacked. Gonna get into it, but before I do, you know what to do. Like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe, and he's gone. Well, I was going to say unbelievable, but very believable when you look at how he's performed this season. Spurs are, I was about to do a video. Spurs are in a relegation battle. They are like languishing in the bottom half of the table. If they don't start picking up some points soon, they are going to be fighting teams around them. And Tottenham are not built for a relegation battle. Them players can't take that kind of pressure. They can barely take the pressure of playing at home. How are these not going to deal with a relegation battle? So I guess the logical thing has happened, really. But don't forget who Tottenham's next game is. They are playing Arsenal. It's a home game for Spurs, so Arsenal are going to be playing away at the Tottenham Stadium, and they've got rid of him. Who knows who's coming in, but is this going to give Tottenham a bit of a manager bounce heading into that game? Who's going to be the one that comes in and takes over? Are they going to just appoint an interim? Are they going to look for somebody to take over long term? I guess it's going to be an interim, but who's going to come in and do that job? Spurs is a poison chalice, that place. All types of managers have gone there and no one has really succeeded. The most successful one is Ange, and he got them finishing 17th. That is crazy. Thomas Frank is somebody that I really respected and admired as a manager at Brentford. But when you look at how Brentford are performing this season and Frank's gone, you'd start to wonder how much did Frank really have to say about it. But I mean, all jokes aside, I think he's a really good manager. I just don't know if anybody can deal with what's going on at Tottenham. I think his position has been pretty untenable for a while now, and that loss yesterday, I watched the game, and Newcastle had double the shots that Tottenham had at home. I know Tottenham have a lot of injuries, they're missing a lot of players, but their forward line is actually where they have everyone fit. Erdebird, Solanke, and whoever else is playing up front for them, but that is a decision that had to be made, to be honest. I know there's a lot of noise from the Tottenham fan base. Everybody, I think, kind of wanted him gone. And once you lose the fans, and it looks like he'd lost the dressing room as well, I mean, there's no way that you can stay on in your job. So Tottenham had to do something. They had to do it quick because, like I said, them players are not built for scrapping it out at the bottom of the table trying to stay up. And they certainly are not built for the championship. So I think it's the right decision for Tottenham if they want to salvage anything out of their season. As an Arsenal fan, obviously, could they not have waited until after the North London derby to make that change? That's going to be a very, pressure-filled game for a new manager to come into. I don't know if you want to install your new manager and their first game is against Arsenal. I don't think that's a clever thing to do. So I expect it's going to be an interim for a little bit, at least, Will they be able to get a full-time manager in before the end of the season? Who knows? Who are they even looking at? Who are the top candidates for the Tottenham job? Who wants to go and manage Tottenham? I think Pochettino is the only one that really, truly, got the club, and really got the most out of the players and the most out of the resources that he had. But Daniel Levy's gone, so I don't know how that works with trying to bring Pochettino back. I know the Spurs fans would love to see him back. Would he like to come back? He's managing the United States national team. There's a World Cup coming up. He ain't leaving that before the World Cup, is he? So whatever happens, Spurs are going to have to wait to the summer, I would expect, to appoint a full-time manager. United have gone for an interim in Carrick and somebody who knows the club and is doing well for him. I mean, they drew yesterday at West Ham. They really should have lost that game. But 4 wins out of 5 and a draw? Apart from that guy with his hair, I mean, it's been pretty good for United, I think, over the past, 5 games or so since Carrick's been in charge. So Tottenham will be hoping for something like that to happen with an interim manager. I'm just curious on who it's going to be, and quite annoyed that it's come just before the North London derby. We were all debating in the Arsenal group with my friends, like, will he go? I wasn't sure. I thought, like, why would you get rid of him before the North London derby when you're going to bring in a new manager? But I guess, he was going to get embarrassed in that game, so probably best to remove him before that humiliation. And now maybe Spurs have a chance in that game against Arsenal. They're definitely going to be the underdog, and it's a hell of a game for a manager to come in and start trying to turn things around for Tottenham. So that is going to be interesting to watch. That's going to be a week on Sunday, is that game, because we've got FA Cup weekend coming up, obviously. But Thomas Frank is gone. Man, another one bites the dust. The Premier League is brutal and ruthless, and especially if you're managing one of the top teams, you gotta be performing. You can't be losing week in, week out, at home, away, conceding stupid goals. You get yourself back into the game, you concede again. That's just how every Tottenham game has gone pretty much this season. So unsurprising to see Thomas Frank get the shove, but I don't know who they're gonna bring in and what they're gonna do about that. But wow! Thomas Frank, that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, losing to Newcastle. A Newcastle team who've been struggling, to be honest. Eddie Howe, if he didn't have so much money in the bank, would be another manager under pressure. But I think, he'll probably be able to keep his job until the end of the season, especially after that win against Tottenham. But wow. Thomas Frank out the door. What do y'all think about that? Who do you think is going to come in as the interim? Is it going to be a permanent replacement that comes in? What's going to happen with Tottenham? Do they have a chance of salvaging their season, or are they in a relegation battle? Because make no, bones about it. If they lose to Arsenal and a few things go, against them, they're going to be, a couple of points above the drop zone, and then it really does get, sticky for them. And like I said, I just don't see the Tottenham players being built for a relegation battle. They're going to hope whoever comes in can galvanize that squad and get the players, putting in a bit of effort. They're going to have to do it with half their team missing because they still got all those injuries. So it's not a great situation for a manager to be coming into, whether they're interim or a permanent fixture. But there we go. Thomas Frank. It's a hard life, It's tough at the top, and it just goes to show how hard it is to come in, perform, and rebuild. All the things that Arteta's done. It's really hard to do that. It's really hard to be given the time to do that, especially when you lose the fan base like Thomas Frank did. So the writing was on the wall. Off he goes into the sunset. Who's next on the managerial merry-go-round at Spurs? Who's the next manager to get stuffed by Arsenal? I'm here for it. Hey guys, I'll see you later. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Drop me a note in the comments about what you think about this whole Thomas Frank situation. Was it the right decision? And who is going to replace him? I'll see you later on, people. Have a great day. Peace. Bye.